and welcome in to the Josh Ennis Show. It's Josh, it's Jilly, it's Luther. We are glad you're hanging out with us tonight. Jilly, how are you doing?
I am good.
Jilly is good. We're all good. Everything's great. Podcast recording down here, good. Everything's rocking. I hope you're all well. I hope you had a lovely day. I hope life's treating you well. I hope you're staying out of mischief and what have you. And that everything is just coming up roses for you. That's what I hope. Also, when I watch this on here, I feel like my shirt changes color sometimes. See? Watch this.
Well, it's white, yeah.
Bizarre, huh? Watch, like, boom. Very strange. Anyway, I don't know, one of these days I'll figure all this stuff out. I don't know what day that'll be, but you know what? It'll be a glorious day then. Now, won't it? Won't it be glorious, everybody? But it's good to be back with everybody tonight after a busy show over at 97.5 today. A very lively show, a very exciting show.
That is super distracting.
It is. I don't understand why this is happening.
I think it's because it's like the undertone of it, so maybe it's kind of like a green screen almost, even though the shirt's blue. The way the lights bounce off of it.
I don't know, but it's so bizarre.
If you turn off the bright light, it won't do it, but then
you won't see me.
Yeah.
So it's so strange. But the color of this, like, the shirt, it's so bizarre. Oh, God. Okay, I'm just going to have to avoid looking at it. It's just strange the way that's happening. But anyway, maybe if I unplug the camera, I don't know.
I feel like with the camera, I think it's the lighting.
Well, maybe so. Anyway, Dr. Busby. That's who we're telling you about to start off the show today. Dr. Busby of ToeGrips.com. That's right, ToeGrips.com. I just can't stop.
What did you turn off? Have you ever tried doing it without the fan light on?
Then I can't see you.
Oh, okay.
Everything is basically done around the fact that, like, you don't want to have lights on you.
Well, if it was just a spotlight and not the overhead light, maybe it'd be different.
I don't know that would be the case.
There's just a lot of lights.
I understand that, but if I turn that off, then I won't be able to see you at all.
Right, but if you put a spotlight on me.
Yeah, but I mean, where's that spotlight going to come from?
I thought that one was on me.
No, but it can't just be spotlights either, because then it looks even worse. There's like a combination of lighting that I need to have. I've tested all this stuff out. Anyway, maybe I'll just have to go put on a different color shirt, or next time don't wear this blue shirt because it's trim, and maybe nobody else sees it, but like that's bizarre. I move my arm and my shirt will change colors.
Yeah, it's the lighting bouncing off of it.
I guess, but it's screwy. Now let me start Dr. Busby's music over. Dr. Busby, ToeGrips.com. ToeGrips.com is where you can get the toe grips, of course. I mean, come on, it's ToeGrips.com. Of course it's ToeGrips.com. But not only can you get the toe grips, which can help your dog move around on slippery surfaces, like I'll say a wood floor, despite the fact your dog's been struggling on wood floors due to age, arthritis, injury, surgery, disability, whatever it may be. Well, toe grips can help out and can really change things, can really make things better for your dog. And we've already had some people telling us that they've purchased the toe grips. We've also gotten a lot of people telling us they have purchased Dr. Busby's Encore Mobility, which is what Luther takes. Luther takes Dr. Busby's Encore Mobility, and things work out spectacularly for Luther. He runs around and he jumps around and he plays and has a great time, and he's awesome. And he just seems like a totally new pup since taking Dr. Busby's Encore Mobility. This supplement contains green-lipped mussel, New Zealand deer velvet, which is a novel ingredient not found in the big-name joint supplements in the USA. And Dr. Busby actually learned about this product over 3 years ago from an Israeli veterinarian at a veterinary acupuncture conference. She is well-traveled at the acupuncture veterinary parties, I tell you. But it's a great treat for your dogs, and it helps promote hip and joint flexibility, restores mobility and comfort, and renews vigor and vitality. It is Dr. Busby's Encore Mobility Luther Takes, and I would urge you to get it for your dog as well. You can do it at the website, TowGrips.com. If you use the promo code Luther, that's Luther, that is Luther, 10% off site-wide using the promo code Luther. 10% off if you use that code. And there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. You'll love it for your dog. And if you don't, hey, you can send it back and say, Dr. Busby, it just didn't work out for us, and you'll get your money back. So it's Dr. Busby. She's wonderful. The website is towgrips.com. The great Dr. Busby blog is there. It is awesome. She is awesome. It is towgrips.com. Towgrips.com with Dr. Busby. And as Raul says, Dr. Busby writes a fantastic blog. Dr. Busby does write a fantastic blog.
Yes, she
and
does.
she herself is fantastic, and we love her, and she's been so great to Luther and so great to all of us. So there you go. It's towgrips.com. All right. Welcome in, everybody. What's going on in the world? What's going on for everyone? What's on everyone's mind today? So let's start here, actually, because people are all worked up over this Aunt Jemima thing, right? We talked about this on the show in Houston today. I'm really baffled. Like, I understand that woke culture annoys a lot of people because woke culture annoys me, and I think a lot of it's pandering, a lot of it's posturing, a lot of it's just doing things for likes, and none of it really equals anything or amounts to anything, and nothing big ever comes. Change doesn't actually come from it, all that. But in the case of this Aunt Jemima thing, I find myself far more annoyed by the fact that there are so many people that are annoyed by it.
Yes.
Does that make sense? Like, I am actually more annoyed by the fact that there are people that are so worked up over the fact that a fake character, it's not a real person, and they're so worked up over a name change over syrup. Who the hell cares? Like, you got to pick your battles, man. Like, you have to pick your battles. Like, there's a lot of things I get worked up about, a lot of things I get angry about, a lot of things I get passionate about, right? Like, when it comes to the woke stuff, when I see a story like the kid from Oklahoma State, right? The kid from Oklahoma State does something online that could be detrimental to his coach's career before he even goes and talks to him. That bothers me. That disturbs me because that could crush somebody's livelihood, and that is no good. Those are things I really fight against and rail against when it comes to woke culture and pandering to social media. I despise that. When it comes to this Aunt Jemima thing, I can't feign outrage over the fact that a made-up character, a fake character, which, oh, by the way, is rooted in racism. That's not a lie. That's not made up. That is 100% true. The character of Aunt Jemima was a creation of, well, first of all, there was a song about an Aunt Jemima that was by a black guy, but then all the dudes in the minstrel shows would play this character, this mammy-like character that was that became Aunt Jemima. So a couple of dudes who are in the pancake business are at one of these shows one night, and they decide to call their product Aunt Jemima, their pancake mix. They decide to call it Aunt Jemima. Then they create the mammy-like character, which is based on characters in a minstrel show, which is white men playing black women in blackface. Now, would my life be destroyed if they kept Aunt Jemima? Do I think that would be a slap in the face to progress? No. But like people, like here's I think what really set me off, and I'll be honest with you about this. So Jim, and you know I love Jim, but Jim sends me one of these memes, and the memes really have set me off. I really hate when people learn through memes and the memes are factually inaccurate.
Well, if it's not a meme, it's got to be true.
And it's so annoying, these memes that are all over the internet. And I have to, every time I see one of these memes, I then feel it necessary to go search for an hour on Google to look for every possible source to see if this is even remotely true or remotely real or what's factual and what's not. It happens a lot, like on police shooting ones. You'll see all the rap sheet of a guy that got shot by the cops, and I never know if any of that is true.
You
I
don't,
don't, so I have to keep looking it up and dig for the information myself. So Jim sends me this meme, a picture of Aunt Jemima, and it says that basically Aunt Jemima was a brilliant chef, and she died the first black millionaire in America, and blah, blah, blah. The reality is, nobody knows if Aunt Jemima was a good cook or not because she wasn't a professional cook. She wasn't a chef. And by the way, her name's not Aunt Jemima. Her name is Nancy Green. She's a model. And the only way she was a model is she was the model of this character, Aunt Jemima. Now, she got some money from it, and she did well for herself from it. But the idea that, like, somehow Aunt Jemima was a real person and she sold her company to this company, I've seen no data that backs that up. There's nothing on there. There is nothing on the internet that I've seen that would confirm any of the junk that I have seen in any of these memes. It's absurd, and people just buy it. Like, and people just buy this and they go with it. And like, so then like people will tweet me and go, well, you know, this. That's not true. And it just enrages me that people don't take the time to Google stuff.
Well, it just enrages me that someone is that pissed off that the breakfast syrup is changing its name.
Yes.
Who cares?
Yes.
It's
it's stupid.
The same syrup. And this is where you wonder, where you're like, oh God, you know, people go, white people.
Yeah.
This is the instance where you're like, white people, really?
Like, get over it. Like,
it's
I understand.
Not that big of a deal that the name changes.
You have to pick and choose these things, man. Pick and choose your battles. This means nothing in the grand scheme of things that the name Aunt Jemima is changing. But then when I get frustrated is when people just start spreading false information because they're too lazy to Google something. Maybe it's because I do stuff on the radio, and maybe it's because I'm doing this show here. So maybe I feel compelled to at least be somewhat accurate in what I talk about on it. But what the hell, people? Like, and it's smart people that do this, that just retweet these. Like, I would get it if my dad was sharing erroneous Facebook stuff. But when I get stuff from Jim and it's just inaccurate, and it enrages me.
Well, it's like Ryan Fieldman. All we had to do was put a quote from Ryan Fieldman on a meme, and that would have been taken as like the Lord's word.
Totally. And it's bizarre. And I don't care that they changed the name. Like, some McDougal on Twitter really thought he had me about 30 minutes ago because I brought up the Aunt Jemima thing earlier today, and he responds with a link to Wikipedia, and he says, she was a successful business person, was Aunt Jemima. It says it on Wikipedia. Well, no, it says that Nancy Green, who is the person who portrayed Aunt Jemima, became a successful business person by being the spokesperson for Aunt Jemima. There is no Aunt Jemima. The only Aunt Jemima were white men in blackface in minstrel shows. That is it. So it's like, again, pick your battles. Pick your battles on these things,
Well, it's
man.
like when they changed the holiday cups at Starbucks that one year, and it was already people like, why are you so why is this such a big deal that there's holiday cups? But then what got more annoying was the people bitching about the changes to the holiday cups. Like, it wasn't even like the initial people that were like, boy, this is kind of insensitive. Whatever. It became more obnoxious when the people were bitching about the people who thought they were insensitive. Like, then it was just like, okay, this is not that big of a deal.
Yes. Let me see a comment here. I saw M.W. Soulgrove say something about picking battles and you give an inch. Okay, if you want to talk to me about important shit that you've given an inch on, I'll listen to it. Changing the name of a goddamn syrup means nothing. It means not, like, it doesn't fix black culture. It doesn't fix any sort of racial issues. And it certainly doesn't have a negative impact on your life. There's no way in hell your life is impacted negatively because they changed the name of Aunt Jemima. There is no way in hell that that's impacted anybody on a negative level. No way in hell. That's what I mean when I say pick your battles. Pick your battles on these things. Like, some things are really worth fighting. Like, I think it's worth, like, this cop who's now facing the death penalty or life in jail. I'd fight for that guy because I don't think that guy should be facing life in jail, and I don't think he should get the death penalty or anything like that.
Well, if the guy who killed George Floyd isn't, this guy certainly shouldn't be. That's the part that I'm more upset about. Like, so this guy has more serious charges than the guy that literally on camera seemingly purposefully murdered someone?
Yes.
That's an issue.
But in this case, a guy was passed out drunk at the Wendy's. They talk for 40 minutes. They're having a civil conversation. The guy attacks the cop, and then people are like, oh, my God, how could they do that? Well, don't attack the goddamn cop and don't be drunk at the Wendy's. Like, that's one that I'd fight for. I'm getting to the point that I don't give a shit about tearing down the stupid statues or anything else. Like, I see Joe says, how long until Mount Rushmore is detonated? Honest to God, I don't care. If they take down every goddamn statue, I don't care. Take them down. It doesn't change my life. Like there's certainly, like, tear down the Columbus statue. I don't care. Detonate Mount Rushmore. Don't care. It doesn't impact my life, and I'm sick of concerning myself with shit that doesn't impact my life. Do I think the people that want to tear this shit down are completely full of shit? Absolutely, they're full of shit. But it just doesn't impact my life. Joe says the principle matters. What is the principle, Joe? In this case, what is the principle? What principle do we need here? That if, like, basically, you want reality, Joe? You want to know something that's never going to change, so whining about it here's the amazing part of all this. The amazing part of all this is none of it matters. And guess what? If the people want to bitch and tear down statues, you're never going to stop them from doing it because their Democratic politicians are so buried in this that it will not change. So getting worked up over a stupid statue being torn down means dick. It's nothing. Bitching about statues and we're changing this and they changed the word of a song. And who cares? Get the fuck over it. But I'm still, tell me the principle. I'd like to have the principle in this. The principle is that this is just another inch. Okay, so first we're tearing down statues, then what? Then what happens after the statues come down? Guess what? Shit hadn't changed in 100 years, dude, and nothing's gonna change now anyway. Like, it's just amazing what people get so worked up over and angry about. One day it will end up on your doorstep, and many people will say that it doesn't affect me, and who the hell cares? What's going to end up on my doorstep, M.W. Soulgrove? I'd like to know what's going to end up. What do statues being torn down have to do with me? I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I care if a statue comes down of somebody. Now, if it's something that I consider completely farcical, then I will tell you. Like, if you're just tearing down statues for the sake of doing it, there's one thing. If someone says, well, this guy killed a bunch of black people and was a slave owner, of course you can say that everybody was a slave owner, that everybody was a bad person in the 1800s. I don't disagree, but I just don't feel like fighting the damn fight about it. I've been beaten down by it. I just don't care.
Well, Drew Brees doesn't affect you, but you went hard on that.
But there's a difference. But that's something, like, to me, Drew Brees was not wrong. And there was no real case against Drew Brees. That's the difference. With Drew Brees, there was none of that. And everybody gives me the slippery slope and all this stuff. That's fine. But my point is this. My point is that, like, the reason I went after Paul Feinbaum, for instance, yesterday, Paul Feinbaum is sitting there trying to get a guy fired because he was wearing a T-shirt. That could happen to any of us. And I will fight against that because that is bullshit. People should not see their lives altered and their careers blown up because some dopey college kid gets offended by a T-shirt and a guy's whole livelihood should go away. That is pathetic. That is something I will fight. What I'm not going to fight and get worked up over and pound my chest over and say, this must stop, when will the madness stop, is that people want to tear down statues. Because ultimately, all it's doing is tearing down a bunch of statues and ain't changing the world. And the Democratic people are going to sit around, the Democrats are going to sit around, and they're swing their dicks around about it and say, we got change done, but nothing's going to happen. When I talk about Drew Brees, any of us could have said, hey, respect the flag, and the whole world would have come out against us. I will fight for Drew Brees, and I will fight for people to be men and not run to Twitter and call people out for nothing. I will fight for that, and I will fight for Mike Gundy. I will fight for a lot of these things. It's the statues and the changing the name of Aunt Jemima. Oh, my God, my life is ruined. Oh, my God, it's so hard, I'm melting. Oh, my God. Oh, they changed. What's next? Are they going to take the cop off of Cookie Crisp, too? Oh, my God. Is Ronald McDonald going to have to be a woman? Is it going to be Ronaldina McDonald? I just don't care. I don't care. I will fight with Josh Ennis and Aubrey Huff. Well, thanks, Trevor. Fight to end Twitter and Facebook. There's an idea. I'm all about ending Twitter. I think Twitter and network news and cable news are the death of society.
Social media, that's the one for me. It's got to go, all of it.
Sometimes you have to stop and say, okay, I get your point on either side. Even if you don't. That's the thing about it. That's called compromise. That's actually what politics should be. instead of people ripping each other's heads off, at some point there's a compromise that comes into it. It's called going along to get along, right? And at times you just have to say, go along to get along. Not every time. There are things worth fighting. But a statue in a city I don't live in, representing people I don't care about, means dick to me. Means absolutely nothing to me. Now, before we get into anything else, I might as well tell you about some of the people that make the Josh Ennis Show possible. People who are wonderful. People who are sponsors of the Josh Ennis Show. Who should I tell them about?
Prime One Consulting.
Prime One Consulting. Well, let me tell you about Prime One Consulting. Then that's our buddy Jason. Need to go golf at his course again. Maybe I think you would have liked that course. They had a nice big building out there. All these nice, comfortable chairs. You would have enjoyed it. But
Well, that was back when you didn't have your job.
That's true. Well, I mean,
You don't have that luxury anymore.
I don't. I just can't go out and golf at 2 in the afternoon.
You got to
now,
go
so.
make that money. No, that's not it.
No need to be bitchy, Jelly. That is mean and bitchy, and I don't need that from you today. But they are in the business of mold, Prime One Consulting. If you're buying or selling a property, if you're moving into a rental property, if you have frequent sinus headaches or sinus issues, immune compromising illnesses, or have had recent water damage to your property, well, you should have a mold inspection done. And Jason or one of the members of his staff will come out. They'll do all these wacky things, check the humidity and moisture reading. They'll collect air, they'll swab and tape lift samples, and they'll go check the air outside to compare it to the air quality in your house. They're scientists, my friend. They are absolutely good people, and they will absolutely do a wonderful job with you. It is Prime One Consulting, and you can save $50 off of the entire process just by mentioning the Josh Ennis Show. And I know you want to have healthy air. And I know that you want to breathe in healthy air. And I know that you want to live that good life of breathing in air. And I guarantee you'll feel a whole lot better. Okay? $50 off if you mention the Josh Ennis Show. 281-545-5005. 281-545-5005. The website is Prime, the numeral 1, consulting.com. It's Prime One Consulting. Who is next?
Mac Knight Safety Solutions.
That's our buddies from Mac Knight Safety Solutions. We love them as well. Where are they at? Let me find their picture. I think it's all the way at the bottom. Hold on. Two. Mac Knight Safety Solutions. What business are they in, Jelly?
Safety.
Safety. You bet your ass they're in the business of safety over at Mac Knight Safety Solutions. Basically, if you're on the job site and you want to make sure that your guys are, protected, you want to make sure you're protected from them being injured, because the last thing you need to do is be sued and have all sorts of issues. You don't want to live that life. You want to live that life?
No.
I don't think you want to live that life. So on the work site, you can have temporary safety oversight on projects, and that can be supplied by Mac Knight Safety Solutions. Pretty cool, huh? They do a hell of a job. They work with you. They work jobs all across the country. They can work jobs internationally, and they make sure that your life is just easy, right? That their life is just easy on the job site, and it gives you peace of mind, and they will do it for you. That's what they do at Mac Knight Safety Solutions. 832-363-1295. 832-363-1295. It is Mac Knight Safety Solutions. We appreciate them. We love them. MacKnightSafety.com. You want to do one more?
We can. We have two more we have to
have
do.
two
So you
more,
can either
huh?
break it up or do them now, whatever you want.
Give it to me.
Metro Ready Mix.
Oh, yes, our friends. We haven't talked about Metro Ready Mix all week. I mean, we've been talking about our other concrete friends at Concrete Chemistry. This is more of your garden variety concrete, if you will. This is just a good old-fashioned, this is like the missionary position of concrete is what we're saying here. This is the good old-fashioned nuts and bolts, right down the middle, fastball, rolling it right down the middle of the lane with no curve. It's just good old-fashioned concrete. Slab work and foundations, patios, driveways, parking lots, pool decks. Got it all for you, and they'll do it for you over at Metro Ready Mix. That's our friend Rich. We haven't heard from him in a while. But he is awesome. I'm sure they're out there doing jobs and making sure the world is more concrete, okay? But anyway, it's our friends over at Metro Ready Mix. Their website is metroreadymix.net. 713-991-6466, or over in Crosby at 713-677-9699 if you need them. That's where you can find them. Maybe lay a driveway. I guess I never talked to Demir about the driveway situation. I guess I need to find out more about that. But anyway, it is our friends over at Metro Ready Mix. I guess I should put their graphic up there too,
Yeah,
as
we
my
could
shirt
slack
changes
in there.
colors. It's like whenever you would get those pens and stuff that would change colors when the heat of your hand would be
No,
in
yeah,
them.
those are fun.
But anyway, there you go. It is Metro Ready Mix. We'll do that last sponsor here before we get out of here later. We will continue talking with our people here. Let's see here. It appears that there is some level of anger in the chat today with MW Soulgrove, who is not happy about apparently I misquoted him or something, and now he's ripping me. So, well, if you would like to clarify where I misquoted you and what the issue is, I will gladly entertain that conversation.
Yep, he's a loyal gisser.
He is, so I'm curious. Ordering my shirt right now. What's the count up to? I believe we are in the 80s. I believe we're in the 80s right now. So we're doing pretty good with that, and it's awesome to see all these people ordering these shirts, and they're going to start shipping them out here. I believe they're starting to ship some out tomorrow because they're printing tomorrow, and they're going to start shipping some of them out.
Awesome.
Let's see here. You're dumbing my argument down to syrup. No, okay, I get your fucking point. Your point is that if we give them syrup, then they'll take this, and then they'll take this, and then they'll take this. Guess what, dude? You can't do anything to stop it. I can't do anything to stop it. A lot of these monsters out here have a lot of power due to social media and the politicians who suck farts out of their asses, okay? So there are certain things that I'm just not that interested in fighting. And you can say, well, are you dumbing it down to syrup? This is the one that I'm not going to fight because it's pointless. Let them have whatever victory they want to have in this and move on to the next one. Fight the fights that are worth fighting. The syrup, and I know you say I'm dumbing it down to the syrup. Do you say syrup or syrup?
Syrup.
Me too. But I'm not trying to dumb your argument down to syrup, but this is the latest thing we're talking about here, right? Nothing, like, this means nothing. This is literally for a couple of internet dopes to pat themselves on the back and say, boy, we got change done. Guess what? That ain't change. That's what we would call, that's more of a facade of change. That is like just peripheral change that means nothing. It's just a small victory for these guys and go, hey, we won. Fight the real fights is my point. Fight the fights for guys like Mike Gundy who could lose their job over assholes. Fight the fights for the Drew Breeses because that's far more dangerous than changing syrup. Where does it stop is a fair question, though. I don't know where it stops, but big picture, this is nothing. This latest thing means nothing.
I honestly think that was more of just the brand themselves wanting to change it anyway. I don't even think there was like a huge uprising
it's not
of
like
people.
a huge story, by the way. You
It
know
wasn't
who we're
like
hearing?
people were protesting for Aunt Jemima to go away.
That's what, and it's not only that. And I'm sure that over the years, Pete, there have been certain people that have bitched
But it hasn't
about
been
it,
like
and
a
that's fine.
gigantic movement like the statues. It hasn't
Correct.
been on that
doesn't-
level.
And you know who we're hearing more about this from? White people, and not liberal white people. We're talking about the angry white people who are just so angry. The where does it stop people? That's the point. Like, and it also doesn't help the conservatives or the common sense people or the libertarians to sit there and constantly bitch about little things like this. You're no different than people who would bitch about the Land O'Lakes lady or something like that when you're sitting here getting so worked up over this. It's not worth getting worked up over. This particular thing is not worth it. It's just, this is not like the next step or we're closer to some sort of world domination by these people. This is literally window dressing. It is nothing. This is just for people to shake their own hands and jerk themselves off and say, we got something done. That's it. Doesn't mean a goddamn thing. Somehow Dan Snyder and the Redskins are surviving this. The Redskins are the first time I posted the Al Jolson picture was in reference to the Redskins, right? So, and I didn't get in trouble for that, which also made it fascinating that I got fired over a picture of Al Jolson, despite the fact that I posted the picture a year before that and not one person cared. But whatever, it shows their hypocrisy. But it's funny because the Redskins doesn't offend me, and if they never change the name, I wouldn't care. But I do find it to be funny that the NFL is, 75% black, 65, 70% black. And these are the same people who, like Malcolm Jenkins has a spot on CNN to talk about social justice or whatever, and all these guys are saying they're going to take a knee for the anthem. You would think it was for all equality, but it's ultimately not. It's for black equality. Because if any of these athletes really gave a damn about any other group being offended, they wouldn't play for the Redskins. Like, think about this. These college kids, they bitch about their colleges and say, well, I want to be able to wear this, or this statue needs to come down, or this building needs to have its name changed, all that kind of stuff. But you hear no NFL player going, no, I'm not going to lie to you guys. Its name, pretty offensive. Kind of an offensive name. And I'm not going to play. Like, when are we going to get the ballsy player that steps up and says he's not going to play for the Redskins? You won't get that. Because a lot of these same people talking about equality and how the white man has all the power, they don't give two shits about the Indians being offensive or the Redskins being offensive or anything else like that. That is a double standard that I find funny. Like, the Chiefs win the Super Bowl. First of all, it's a team that's named the Chiefs, and they used to have a mascot that rode out on a horse, but they have an Indian drum, and they have a chant that they do at the tomahawk chop. And guess what? It's a bunch of black guys at the parade, the victory parade, doing all of these things that are pretty offensive, I would imagine, towards Native American culture. If you would find examples of that white people were doing about black culture, it would be a huge federal case. What I'm telling you is this, that none of these groups care about the other group. They care about their own group. Nobody's looking for overall equality, and no one's looking for things to get better for everyone. People want things to get better for themselves. That's how I look at things. I just want things to be better for myself. That's how I operate. I'd like my life to be better. And that's the way I look at things. Thank you. I'm glad you brought up the Redskins there.
Is everyone cool now?
Everything's fine. Oh, yeah, we're all good. See, that's the thing we do here.
We actually discuss things.
Here in Gist Nation, we try to understand each other. We try to come to an agreement here. We try to have a discussion. We try to bond here and not alienate one another. We want to sit here and have a good, hearty, healthy conversation about things. And when we misquote someone or someone gets angry, we try to figure it out. Somebody said something in here earlier about not understanding Nick's point on the show earlier today. Josh's shirt keeps changing color. It does, and I don't know why. My guess is it has something to do with the combination of a setting on the camera and the lights. So, there's probably some auto adjust that happens in the camera based on certain lights. Therefore, my shirt changes color. And it doesn't happen with every shirt I wear. It's just really noticeable with this particular shirt.
I like that shirt, too.
And, I might have to burn this shirt because it's a huge distraction. I'm sitting here and I can't focus on anything. But anyway, I'll figure this stuff out. Are you aware that your takes have evolved into canceled territory and 97.5 rocks? Your political segments would be considered KKK level on WIP. Oh, I know that. And trust me, that's something I've thought about, too, if I'm ever going to be back on sports radio. I can't be woke dude on the radio, right? But that's kind of what you have to be if you're on sports radio. You have to be super woke. And even if you offer just a level-headed opinion, you're kind of an a-hole in all of this, right? Like you're racist, you're terrible, and you can't even offer how would I put this? A fair down the middle the thing. Like today when you sent me that text about the Rayshard Brooks thing, about how the cop was being charged and he's facing felony murder charges. And me and Nick talked about that for the first segment of the 3 o'clock hour. And my point continues to be, is that this guy would not have been dead if not for the fact, even if you want to eliminate the drunk driving thing, because we've all done that before, and we've all gotten very lucky that we haven't died or gotten a DUI. So I'm not going to be overly judgmental about a guy being drunk and maybe he shouldn't have driven. Now, I've never passed out in a Wendy's parking lot while driving drunk, but I've had enough.
You've said you've slept in your truck before.
Well, yeah, but I didn't leave. The one time I'm thinking of is at an LSU game. I slept in the bed of my truck at the LSU game. And by slept, I mean I passed out. But I've never driven somewhere and then parked my car and then slept in it after driving. If I've driven while having too much to drink, which is not a good thing to do. But I've made it to the point A to point B. And now with Uber and everything, there's no excuse for any of this shit. You take an Uber and you go on with your life. But in this case, I'm not going to even judge the guy hardcore for that because we've all been there. The problem is you ran from the, not only did you run from the cops, because I don't think they would have plugged him if he ran from the cops. I don't know that for a fact, but I don't think, based on the 40-minute conversation they had, I don't think he's plugging that guy after a 40-minute conversation, even if the guy runs. It's the attack on the cop. It's the stealing of the taser. It's the turnaround and pointing the taser. And we had that discussion on the show. If I were to have that discussion on the radio in Philadelphia, I'd probably be fired.
Probably.
Or there'd be protests. That's one of the reasons that going back to Philly seems kind of implausible, among many others, like there's no jobs. But that would be one of them. Didn't understand Nick today. Guy took cop's taser, but cop was carrying a second taser plus a gun. I didn't understand. I also don't really care about the topic. And this is the thing I didn't understand either today, and I have not heard this from anyone else. It was just Nick who said this today, that the cop had multiple tasers and like he put his taser down and pulled out his gun. I don't believe that to be true. I've never seen that.
There was a statement from the police officer's lawyer where I think he said he actually did maybe try to tase the guy, but he didn't respond to it like twice. I don't know if maybe that's what he was talking about. I'm trying to find where I saw that story, but it was an actual statement. Maybe that, I don't know. But then they were saying like the other issue is like, the guy didn't render aid to the victim and he kicked the guy. And so these are all mounting charges on top of the murder charge.
And also, I saw a story in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution today that this district attorney, because I saw Go Gadget Wang posted that 2 weeks ago the DA specifically stated a taser is a deadly weapon. Today it's not. The AJC actually posted a story, and this is not going to shock you here, in one of these Democrat cities with a Democrat district attorney. But the district attorney is evidently under like scrutiny because he took he took a lot of money. Like it's like district attorneys tend to be like how often do you see this, that the district attorney ends up in some sort of issue, some sort of controversy? We saw it in Philadelphia with what's his name in Philadelphia. We see it here. Like there's a lot of these guys who are just corrupt. There's a lot of these guys who are just playing the political game. That cop shouldn't have been fired for that, in my opinion. That cop should certainly not be facing life in prison or death penalty or whatever he may be facing. He should certainly not be facing that for this situation, because, and you said it earlier, and I think your point is very valid on this, is that look how long it took to bring charges and everything towards a guy that just stone cold killed a dude in Minneapolis. And those guys are facing lesser charges. Oh, even the dude, the Chauvin that killed George Floyd.
It's up to second-degree murder now in that one.
This guy's facing harsher charges than that dude.
Much harsher.
And this dude was just defending himself.
Now, they're also saying the other issue with this guy is that he did shoot, just kind of at random, and he hit another car of an innocent bystander, and so, that's an issue. But obviously the big charge, he's got 11 charges that he's facing, but the big one is obviously the murder charge.
Yes.
Felony murder.
Atlanta is Thunderdome. Cops walked off the job. Can't say I blame them. I didn't see that. I don't know if that's true or not, but I don't know that
the other day, I think 20 of them resigned.
Yeah, but that ain't the whole police force of Atlanta that walked off the job. But if I were them, I wouldn't want any part of it anymore. I don't. Here's the problem: is I don't know what young kids are going to want to be cops, right?
None.
I don't disagree that there could be things that can change and things that can be better about policing. And you talk about defunding the police. How about investing more money into training these guys and having them ready for conflict resolution and how to handle multiple situations? I heard Joe Rogan talking about this the other day, and it's not unfair to say that you need to be willing to not take money from cops and make them, give them less. The idea should be to get guys completely trained up where they understand each situation and how to handle each situation. Now, everybody has a plan until they're punched in the mouth, obviously, so who knows what's going to happen. But that would certainly help things, and that would help matters. It's not just as simple as, hey, the cops need less funding or something like that. Atlanta PD only has 2 precincts working right now. Calls are backlogged AF. Cops are not shrinks. They're not trained to handle mentally unstable folks. I understand that, but it doesn't hurt to have as much training as you can. So when you find yourself in a situation, maybe you'll have a better way of handling it. This situation, and here's the thing. I don't know that they can get a conviction on this. And maybe they don't want a conviction on this. Maybe that's the idea. I don't know. But if they're trying to get felony murder against this guy, now granted, it's a trial, it's a jury trial, right? It's a jury trial. So in Atlanta, I don't know that this guy will ever be able to get a fair trial is the other issue. So maybe they have to get the damn thing thrown out. I don't know if that's going to be possible, but I don't know I know it's not possible for this guy to get a fair trial in Atlanta. I don't think he's got a chance in that.
And there are rumors, they're unconfirmed so far, that a bunch of these police zones have indeed just walked out.
They should.
In Atlanta.
They really should. Just ordered my XXX Big Dog Just Nation shirt. Thank you, Brad Kong. Appreciate that. Felony murder, by the way, means the cop was in the process of committing a felony when he shot this dude. What felony was he already committing? I have no clue. None of this makes any sense. They're absolutely overcharging in these cases, and when the cops are let off their trial because they've been overcharged, they'll just riot again and claim the courts are racist. You are not wrong. You're not wrong that that's going to happen, because there's no way in hell this dude should be going to jail for life over this incident. That is a complete overcharge. And that, like, if you want to go back to M.W. Solgrove's point about giving a mile or taking an inch and taking a mile, give an inch, take a mile, whatever. Like, here's the issue you run into is examples like this, where it's clearly like, a lot of pandering going on, a lot of pacifying. This is like, basically they don't want riots right now. So they're going to make sure to overcharge this guy to try to stop riots and stop people from going nuts. But inevitably, when this guy doesn't get convicted of this, and I don't think he should, and I don't know that he will, although I don't know that he can get a fair trial, what may end up happening, if he's got a good lawyer, I really feel like a lawyer in this situation would be able to sell the idea that there's no way his client can get a fair trial, especially if it's in Atlanta.
I think that's one of the things they're angling. And then there was another thing, too, about they have to get the indictment still. But evidently, let me see.
Because if he's a good lawyer, like me and Andy were talking about that with Chauvin, and I don't even see what a good lawyer can do. Although the point's not unfair that you've got the mayor of Minneapolis going on TV, basically calling the guy a murderer before he's been charged with anything. But that one's so cut and dry. I don't know that you can do it. But a good lawyer in this one, I mean, you're in Atlanta. You've got rioting nonstop. You've got a corrupt district attorney who's being investigated for fraud and other stuff.
Well, basically, so from what I understand reading this, the DA in Atlanta wants to skip the indictment. It says, by Georgia law, a grand jury must convene and determine if it will indict the officers. But due to the pandemic, no grand juries can meet until at least October.
Wow.
The DA, therefore, wants the ability to move forward without an indictment.
This guy's not going to go to jail.
No, but
if he does, it's a giant miscarriage of justice.
So let me
and
ask
I
a
will
question,
riot if
because
this
I don't
guy
know
goes
really
to
how
jail.
the legal system works all that well. So this cop in Atlanta has to surrender by 6:00 tomorrow.
Okay.
Does he just sit in jail while he waits on an indictment? How does that work?
Well, he'll bail out.
I thought there was no parole, no bail, no nothing.
Oh, really? Well,
that's what I'm confused about. I was just wondering.
yeah. I mean, I would imagine there's a way to get. I don't think he's going to be. They're going to have the guy sitting in jail until October.
That's what I was curious.
I don't think.
I wouldn't think so either, but stranger things have happened.
Let's see here. My liberal cousin's black cop best friend said he would have emptied the whole clip in the guy at Wendy's. Well, and if a black cop said he would have emptied the whole clip, then I think that should be used in the defense.
And the lawyer, from what I'm reading, is arguing too that they did like all these new reform things that people want. They said they verbally warned him. They said several times, stop.
Mm-hmm.
But then when he doesn't listen, they went
and basically they want the cops to have no authority.
They
in this
tried
kind
to
of stuff
use,
either.
less force, but that obviously didn't work.
At some point, it's just, it happened. And I'm dead serious. I might consider rioting if this guy goes to jail. Not rioting. I guess rioting's not the right word. I will peacefully protest, but I will also make out with a 70-inch TV because I'm going to get mines too. So, to me, that would be the scariest possible thing, man. If this guy ends up going to jail, that scares the shit out of me, and it would probably scare the shit out of virtually every police officer. And again, it's going to be hard to find young people that want to become officers. And that's the hard part is you got young people now who are growing up in this era of more, inclusiveness and positive vibes, if you want to call it that, and more people in that way. And all these guys are growing up in this different era. And those are the guys that you want to start moving into having be cops. The problem is they're not going to want to. Why would they? I certainly wouldn't if I were a kid. F Tom Wolfe. He should be arrested and have someone's knee on his neck. Boy, they do not like Tom Wolfe.
Nope.
Here's my problem. I saw Tom Wolfe bragging about how they've had like lowering, Rona numbers over like 42 days or something. They're patting themselves on the back. Here's the thing, Tommy. Once you start opening up, it is inevitable that you will have more cases. So there's no getting around it. The Rona ain't going away until there's a vaccine. It ain't going anywhere. So you can sit there and brag about all the number of cases that you don't have. When you start opening up, there will be more cases. And then it's a question of what you gonna do, brother, whenever that happens. Are you gonna cower again? You gonna send everybody back into their homes? You're gonna lock people up again? Or are you gonna do like my guy Roller Governor here, who's like, guess what? We're going to ride this thing out, and we're not alarmed about the numbers. We've got plenty of hospital beds. We think everything is fine. Because what Tom Wolfe is going to end up doing is when they start letting people live their lives a little bit more and the cases start going up, they're going to ram you all back into your houses. And I was talking about this on the show today, but like everybody's got their own way of trying to determine what, if the Rona is being stopped or if their place is doing things right? Like some people look at the death total and see the death total going down, and other people use new cases. I look at a lot of this stuff on here because I like to look at straight up data and not news stories, which leave stuff out conveniently. I like to look at actual data on this. And as long as the data shows me that there are beds available, I'm cool with it, right? To me, that's the biggest thing. So if there are people getting this and they need to be in the ICU, that there are beds available in the state of Texas, city of Houston in particular, that there are beds for these folks. If it gets to a point where they're truly overrun, which they haven't been yet, and they haven't been over the course of 3 or 4 months, if it gets to that point, then you maybe change your approach. Do I think people should wear masks? I don't think it hurts. It doesn't hurt to wear a mask. It doesn't hurt to wear, today I went into Walgreens to get some waters. I wore a mask. It doesn't hurt to wear a mask. It doesn't hurt to wear a mask in Walmart. It doesn't hurt to wear a mask at the gas station, grocery store, wherever you're going. Do I wear a mask when I go to the radio station? No. Do I wear a mask in a restaurant? No. But for the most part, if it's anywhere else, I'll put on a mask. If people are more comfortable with me wearing a mask, if I lessen the likelihood that I get infected, then I'm fine with it. And that's the way we should go about our lives. If we get to a point again where we're just shoving people back in their houses and saying best of luck to you, it ain't going to end well at all. Appreciate CK2384 for ordering the Just Nation shirt today, by the way. Loving the Miami Vice look. Thanks. He ordered the white shirt. Let's see. Fine with a mask in general, says Bry Guy. I don't have a problem with it,
That's another thing. People are just making a huge deal out of, like, okay, it's not that serious.
Yeah, it's like I don't mind doing it. Do I want to wear? Like I don't wear it if I go on a walk. Like when we take Luther here in a few minutes, I'm not going to put on a mask. The people I'm befuddled by though are the ones who put on the like the weird like visor, like the face cover, the plastic thing that covers your whole face, like you're in the front row of a Gallagher show, And I'm kind of like, that seems kind of odd. Now, if you're wearing a mask along with that, I kind of get it. But if you're not wearing a mask as well, I feel like, there's a lot of air and stuff getting in there that you're breathing in, So maybe, put on your mask. And in a lot of stores, they got that plexiglass up now in front of cashiers and stuff.
Yep.
But A, they're wearing a mask, so they're not breathing in anything. And B, you got that's why that's up there in case you spit when you talk or something and you spit into someone's eye or something, like a little spittle goes into someone's eye. But I have no issue wearing a mask. It just not on a walk, which just sounds terrible, which is terrible. Because I walk, it was like 100 degrees last week, and I'm wearing a mask going from the car to Target, and I thought I was going to die. But once you get into Target, I have no issue with it. Let's see. Do you think Biden wants to be president, or did the Dems force him to run because no one else in their party is electable? Is he electable? I feel like looking back on it, maybe they had a couple of people that were just kind of like decent versus this guy. He's senile, man. He's lost. Josh, what about people who are driving by themselves wearing a mask? They're stupid. That's pointless, and you look like an idiot. So congrats, you're stupid. I was against it at first, but after wearing it, it's not that bad. I go in, handle my business, and get out. Hell, sometimes I put on the rubber gloves. Yeah, why not? I mean, if it's something that's not going to be off-putting to me or make my life more difficult, it's not all that difficult to walk into JCPenney for 10 minutes wearing a mask. It's not that difficult to go into HEB and wear a mask for 10 minutes. It's not really all that tough. So it doesn't really bother me, and I'm fine with it. Saw a guy in here talking about, needing sports to come back and everything. Baseball, I'm still not convinced baseball's coming back.
Every day you see one tweet and it's like, oh, we're almost there. They're almost there. And then it's like, are they?
Yeah, I don't buy that they're there yet.
What was the latest one, 60 games in 70 days or something?
You know what bothers me? Can I tell you what bothers me about baseball right now? Is that, let's say they do play a 60-game season. Let's say that they agree upon this, they play 60 games, and then they want to have 16 teams in the damn playoffs. If baseball ever got to a point that 16 teams were in the playoffs, just throw the damn thing away. That's stupid, right? But let's start with the 60-game season. If you're going to play a 60-game season, which is what, a third of your actual, a little more than a third of your actual season length, right? Here's an idea for you. Everybody's talked about all these new ways to fix baseball and make the game more exciting, and we keep hearing about all these suggestions of wacky things they can do to kind of modernize the game. Wouldn't this have been the golden opportunity for that with a 60-game season, a season that people are already going to view as tainted and wacky? And if your team doesn't win the championship, then you're going to look at the team that did win it and say, oh, great, you won the completely ridiculous 60-game season championship. Congratulations. No one other than the team that wins this will view this as a legitimate champion because the season is bastardized anyway. So why not use this as an opportunity to test out some of the wacky things that people have suggested that you try in baseball and just do it?
Because honestly, as snobby as the players sound, they wouldn't want to do that.
They need to. They need that.
That
would be an idea.
Be putting them in more danger or something. And of course, if they're not going to have grievances, then you're screwed. So of course they're not going to change anything. They're not going to take any risks.
But they need to try different stuff. There's not that much of a risk if it's just changing a couple of rules or adding some different elements to the game.
But in their minds, I'm sure there will be.
Because they're dipshits. That's why. In their minds, everybody in the world cares about what they're doing, when in reality, very few people care about it. Mostly, the people who mostly care about baseball are octogenarians who are barely hanging on right now because that's who watches baseball. Baseball is boring, and most people don't care about baseball. That's why they're being lapped by sports that nobody would have ever thought they were being lapped by, like soccer. And virtually every other sport is more interesting than baseball. Soccer, hockey, football, basketball. They all modernize. They all speed the game up. They all make it more fun to watch. Baseball seems to go in reverse. But as far as baseball goes, you look at what they could do with this 60 games. This could have been the opportunity to deliver some different stuff. Like they've always talked about extra innings, having a runner at second base to start extra innings. Why not? Put a runner at second base. Try some wacky stolen base rules. Play without the shift. Do some different stuff that can make the game more exciting. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But this is already a bastardized season anyway. This is already a season that people are going to look back on and go, if it happens, and say, okay. Like, let's say the Pirates win the whole thing.
Yeah.
Do you think any other team's going to go out there and go, look at the 2019-2020 World Series champion Pittsburgh Pirates? They're going to say, no, you guys won this fluky year that's 1/3 of a normal season and a season where they allowed double the playoff teams they usually allow in. It's a joke. So it doesn't even matter. So make it a full-on joke. Make it fun. Make it different. This is your chance to experiment, but they're not going to do it. If you're not going to experiment in a year that no one's taking seriously, when are you going to experiment?
This is random, but I just had this thought earlier. This has nothing to do with baseball.
That's fine.
It was back kind of more towards the Rona thing.
Yep.
Did you see that Garth Brooks is doing the drive-in concerts this weekend?
No.
So he's doing a concert, and you can watch it at different drive-ins. Like you go to the one in Hockley here, for example.
Yep.
And they're showing the Garth Brooks show on the drive-in.
Okay.
Would you pay $100 to see that?
There's not a chance in hell I would pay $100.
$100 per car.
To watch Garth Brooks.
On a screen.
But here's the thing. If that's the case, that means Garth is somehow making money from this. If they're trying, because they have to pay Garth.
Yes.
Garth, you ought to be ashamed of yourself.
$100. And the tickets go on sale Friday, I believe.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. Josh, that shit's never going to happen. Takes away from the dignity of the sport. What dignity? Think about baseball. Don't tell me about dignity of baseball when in the 70s you had dudes doing amphetamines. In the 80s, they were all doing blow. In the 90s, they were all doing steroids. And in this era, they're all pussies. So don't sit here and tell me about the dignity of baseball. Blah, 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 blah. The integrity of baseball. Baseball might have the least amount of integrity of any professional sport, period. MLB should do it like a softball beer league. I bet Nails comes back. See, that'd be like, I'm not opposed to this. A 60-game season is completely bastardizing all of this. So it's already a screwed up season anyway. So do some stuff. Try different stuff. What if it works and people are actually turned on? What if you put like, hey, here's an idea. What if you had a target? Like, you know how like sometimes a team will have a sponsorship, like Bull Durham. Hit the bull, you win a steak. What if you hit a home run? What if your team is down? What if there was one time a game where you could have like a gold ball, and with that gold ball, you have the one gold ball for an at bat. Now, again, there's some iffy stuff here, obviously, because the guy could just intentionally walk you and it wouldn't matter. But like, let's say you're down by 2 in a game. There's 2 outs, nobody on base. You're down by 2. You call for the gold ball. The gold ball can be, it guarantees that you tie the ball game. Like a home run, no matter how many runs you're down, a home run will tie the ball game in that point. Now, you might say, well, Josh, that's all well and good, but won't they just walk him? Yes, but if you walk him, you bring the tying run to the plate. And then who knows what could happen? Do you put the tying run? Again, that's just a hypothetical there.
But hijinks like that.
But yeah, you know what? Maybe this is the year you try it. Again, it's a completely fraudulent championship this year. So go out and try some dumb shit. I have nothing against it. What about no shift after the 7th and you can bat anyone in the 9th to end or tie the game? There's a wacky idea. It's weird to mess up the lineup, but why not?
Our boy Lance McCullers might make it through the whole season.
Yeah, because it's usually about 120 innings or so that he fades out, so he ain't going to pitch 120 innings.
So this could be the year.
Maybe Lance needs to fight for 60-game seasons. He'll get 6, 7 starts in there and live the good life.
Cy Young winner, no doubt.
Without question. Let's see here. South Park once said, if you cheat and fail, you're a cheater. Cartman added, if you cheat and succeed, you're savvy. Oh, that's true.
I think they should just never bring South Park back, by the way, because there's no way it's going to be good now.
I don't know. Even last year, they had some moments last year. I don't think it was because they were trying to be woke. I think they kind of lost it a little bit last year. But I would also lose hope in humanity if those guys decided to not go woke, but really kind of go softball. I think they're like Stern. They're kind of immune, but the difference is that they keep pushing boundaries and Stern doesn't.
Always Sunny is very borderline with it now.
Yeah, Always Sunny sucks.
Because they were talking about coming back and doing another season, but of course it would include the COVID, and I'm assuming probably Black Lives Matter stuff, and I mean, this is the show that did a whole episode about blackface, mind you, and now they feel terrible about it. I know.
Yeah, that I'm not opposed to Always Sunny never coming back
because it was so good for so long, and then it kind of.
But it is not good. I find myself just watching it out of habit. Got 'em. Yeah, I'm not about that life.
They call it maturing.
Yeah, that's fine. It's called you got scared off. South Park is going to be epic after all this, says Matt Grove.
I hope
you would
so.
hope. I mean, that's our only hope is that South Park is epic because nothing else is going to be epic. Thank you, Jim Stud, for promoting that we're selling the shirts. Thank you for putting the logo up there.
Also, did you see what they're moving into Modern Family's old time slot?
What?
The Connors.
Yeah, good luck with that. Modern Family is the greatest show they've had on there in a decade, over the course of a decade.
And it's getting replaced with the Connors. Which is somehow still a thing.
Yep. And not for me. It ain't. It's Always Sunny stopped being funny a few seasons ago. It's garbage now. And the other problem you ran into is that multiple people on there had their own TV projects they were doing as well. So you had obviously the Dennis. Both of them had good shows. I enjoyed both of their shows.
And both of them are gone.
And neither one of those shows exists.
I liked both.
Do you miss Modern Family yet? I don't think I'll miss Modern Family until, the fall comes around and there's no more Modern
and
Family.
And the Connors is on instead.
And I'm seeing woke-ass Sarah or Melissa Gilbert, whichever, the lesbian Gilbert, Sarah Gilbert on there doing whatever kind of woke shit they do on the Connors now. I'm not really interested. Three's Company was a great show that would never fly today. I think you're right on that. You know, I mean, the whole premise of the show is the only reason the landlord let him live there is because he thought he was gay, and that was the whole bit, and there were nice cans. Always Sunny season 13 was the last good one. That Suburbs episode is gold, says Clyde.
That was
that
funny.
the season that had the water park too? Like, I thought the water park episode was good. There are
Yes.
occasional good episodes. The last Always Sunny episode I watched was the Super Bowl episode where Charlie gets stuck in the bar. I was dying. I didn't think that was a funny episode
I
at all.
didn't like that. The one before it was better.
When
I
they
didn't
were
like
at
the one.
the Super Bowl was good. The one where
Yeah.
Charlie's stuck in the bar like in a bear trap or some shit,
Yeah.
that wasn't funny. I didn't, that one I found completely unfunny. The water park episode where Frank and Charlie just keep telling people they have AIDS to get to the front of the
Yeah.
line. That's a good one. Most of the episodes in 13 are good, says Clyde. Well, now I got to know really quick before we get out of here.
There were like a few, like I face a few. There's only like 10 every year, but there was like 2 this season that were pretty funny when they did like the Me Tooing thing.
Yeah.
That was pretty good. But other than that, it was a pretty forgettable
here.
season.
Season 13. Let's see what the episodes were in season 13. I also was a big fan of the episode where they're trapped on the boat. And like they have one of them, they admits that he has the Romo jersey. Don't tell me it was Romo. Of course it was Romo. Let's see. The gang makes Patty's great again is the first episode. The gang recruits a new member in Dennis's absence.
Yeah, this
Mindy
was
Kaling.
last season.
Oh, see, I don't remember that episode.
Yeah, that was the first one when we didn't know if Dennis was coming back. I told you there was like the Me Tooing in that one. Like there was 2 that were good. And I think the first 2 episodes. And then there was the reboot of the Boggs thing.
Didn't like that one. I liked the original Boggs episode, which is one of the greatest episodes in the history of the show. And that was not a good one. The gang gets new wheels. Dennis finds his Range Rover destroyed and gets a less expensive car, which makes him nicer. The gang solves the bathroom problem. The gang does a clip show. Charlie's Home Alone. That was the one with the Super Bowl. The gang wins the big game, and Mac finds his pride. Really not a very good season.
So that was the one before this last
Yes.
year. Okay.
Yeah, that not a great season.
Then the one this last season, there was a couple that I thought were funny.
Yeah,
But
not great. Not great at all. 12. Okay, so there you go. Clyde says it was actually season 12. Well, thanks, Clyde. You made me go through all these shitty episodes here to have the wrong damn season. Let me look one more time here. The gang turns back in this musical episode, an accident involving an electric blanket. Oh, that's where they're all black. That was actually kind of funny though, because it was the episode where they sang the whole time.
Yeah.
That was a pretty good. The gang goes to a water park. That was a good one with the AIDS. Everybody's saying they had AIDS. Old Lady House, a situation comedy. That's where they put
That
the
was funny,
camera.
too.
That's a good one. Wolf Cola, a public relations nightmare. That's a good one. Making Dennis Reynolds a murderer. That was good and it got stupid.
no, it was funny when it first aired. Now you watch and you're like, this is dumb. But when Making a Murderer was all the rage, that episode was hysterical.
Hero or Hate Crime. PTSD. Oh, that's a fucking great episode. That's the one I believe where it's Daddy and the boy. Is that the one that I'm thinking of? Where like they're the strippers and they're at the bar and they're being male strippers. And D, to get back at this dude who's like in the military or whatever, has him do a lap dance at a bachelorette party, but it ends up being for his daughter.
Yeah.
I think that
Is
was
that the one?
I think that's that
It's
episode.
a funny episode.
Rock bottom. Yeah, it's the rock bottom because at the end she goes, "Oh, now you hit rock bottom, bitch." The gang tends bar, a cricket's tail. That's one where like the whole time basically cricket's just tripping. And Dennis's double life. That's the last episode of Dennis before he went off to do the other show, where he like knocked up some chick from North Dakota or something.
In the Boggs episode.
That's not the Boggs episode.
No, but that's the chick he knocked up.
Oh, yes. All right, before we move on, I think it's not the chick he banged on the plane in the Boggs
It was
episode.
in the layover or whatever. Because they remember he got off in South Dakota, was it? Or North Dakota?
one of the Dakotas.
Yeah.
Who am I telling them about, Billy?
Harbor Classic Builders.
Harbor Classic Builders. I got an email from a guy today, and he was asking me about the custom home building company that you guys are talking about. Who is that? Like, well, that's Harbor Classic Builders, friend. How about that? Yeah, because they're awesome, and maybe you should have them build your house with great people like Gama and Murphy Yates and all these other great guys involved in Harbor Classic Builders. Man, that's good stuff over there. They're good people, and they have got just they build these amazing houses. You see some pictures right there. Several of the homeowners have chosen to build second and third houses, and they can help you with every aspect of building your home. If you need an architect, an engineer, an interior designer, a construction loan, they will put you in contact with their hand-picked experts who they've partnered with previously. They know that your house is one of your most important purchases you'll ever make. Don't settle for an average builder. These guys, they are the absolute best. I mentioned Murphy Yates. He's the owner, and he's also a founding member of Operation Finally Home, which builds mortgage-free homes for wounded veterans throughout the country. And they recently celebrated their 100th home. They're awesome. We love them. We appreciate their support. 281-960-3900. 281-960-3900. You can find them on Facebook to see all sorts of great pictures. It's Harbor Classic Builders. And there you go. So we appreciate you guys. You're wonderful people. Let me do this really quick. Let me log us off of here.
Oh, yeah, we're doing it that way again.
We're trying it to see if I can pump out the podcast faster. See if that'll help. Hold on. Because when I do this on Face or on YouTube, it takes forever to upload the video. It's a whole. I don't need to explain the process. It's a whole damn process.
It is a process.
But appreciate Jim for promoting these shirts. That first shipment is going to go out here probably tomorrow or Friday, so your shirts will be in the mail. So I urge you to get your Gist Nation t-shirts. You will love your Gist Nation t-shirts. They're soft and comfy. Get your orders in. They're printing tomorrow. Then they're going to print some bonus ones too. So in case you don't get your shirts yet, there will be some available shirts to purchase. Second wave. There's a second wave of Gist Nation shirts. So there you go. All righty then. So we will say goodbye to the podcast audience right now. We have said goodbye to them. And, well, we will say goodbye to you guys as well, because you're awesome people and you know that I love you.